This type of case where you're going after a former president of the United States and possibly future president of the United States would involve the Attorney General and the FBI Director and senior officials.
I know what the MAGA response is.
So I'm going to ask you to speculate here, Matt. You can decline if you would like, but I'm going to ask you to speculate. You know, we have listened to Chris Wray over the last several weeks or so, and in the last week at the very least, testify before Congress about the resources.
150 Secret Service agents, 300 faces. Yes, dude. No friends in the industry, okay? Surrounded by fake friends. Do you see that? Dude, fallen. The president has fallen. The real president. Surrounded by fucking fake friends, dude.
Prosecutorial discretion in where they choose to put their resources. So I'm curious. The FBI has chosen to devote resources to Donald Trump. Why, in your estimation? What is this about? Is this about supposed classified documents? Is this about January 6th? Why is this at the top of their list of priorities?
Well, Will, that's a great question. And obviously what you prioritize, you put resources towards. And if you...
I love the wording of the possible future president of the United States. It's like, bro, anyone that was born on U.S. soil is technically that. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Possible next president? Like, you can't say that. That's a ridiculous take.
Donald Trump and the previous administration. And it's hard not to believe that these are politically motivated. Like, I have spent 7.5 years at the Department of Justice. It's an institution that should be trusted, but they have eroded that trust to a point now where I think they, to your point earlier, they have a burden to demonstrate that this investigation is not completely politically motivated after Hillary Clinton walked scot-free for the last 7 years.
You know, Matt, and I don't know how they satisfy that burden.
Fucking Sebastian Gorka blocked
At a
me.
minimum, Matt, it would require
Bitch.
some form of a guilty verdict in some court of law. But what we've seen over the past several years is the power of allegation, a simple investigation.
Gorka!
And without at a minimum, a guilty verdict, but I would say the burden is probably more heavy than that because the American people have to look at the inconsistencies, which you and I are both talking about, right? Hunter, you know, pro-abortion violence at pro-life centers, whatever, limited resources, and we cannot help but see, because of these hypocrisies,
President Biden struggles to put on his blazer before dropping his trademark aviators.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think this is where, you know, the American people need to ask very difficult questions. Congress needs to ask very difficult questions because at the end of the day, if they're really planning on bringing Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. in front of a Washington...
Conservatives, this is your fucking villain, dude? Is this the antagonist? Is this your opponent, conservatives? Y'all fucking lost to this man? He can't even put he can't even work his way through a blazer, dude. Oh, no. Can't even put his fucking jacket on. Oh, my Lord, dude. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I know the Secret Service opened the doors up. I already made memes about it. I've just been live memeing every moment of this. It's so fucking great. Yeah, can't even hold his glasses up, dude.
And one last question, Matt. You were acting Attorney General. You have an expansive view of American history. In your estimation, we heard from Stephen Miller a little bit earlier that in his estimation, he can't find another example of something like this in American history. Can you?
I can't, and I think this is unfortunately we've crossed the Rubicon to some extent, where previous administrations are now investigated and previous presidents are investigated by the next administration. This is something from banana republics, not the United States of America.
Yeah, totally.
Matt Whitaker, that's exactly what we've begun to hear. Banana republic. Thank you so much.
Man, it's so embarrassing.
You've heard it mentioned.
Like, it's not embarrassing that Trump was president and like did a whole bunch of insane shit. What's embarrassing is that, like, for the first time ever, there might be like a level of accountability for a previous president, which is unheard of. That is truly unprecedented.
If I may, John, I think we have to be really careful.
Hang on one second, Scott. Dana, and then I'll come to you, Scott.
This is related to what Scott said. I don't know if he did it intentionally or not, but we have to be careful not to adopt the term raid. That was an intentional use of a word, and we haven't done it all night, but just and I know, Scott, you were saying that the Republicans are saying that this is a raid and that he'll be martyred, but the use of the word.
Oh God, here's the thing. No, they're right. This is a very real part of this. Okay, now This is a very real part of this. Listen. If it turns out that this is not even a real fucking raid, okay, then everybody got, okay? Trump could very easily be like screaming about it and being a drama queen about it and saying that it's a fucking raid when it's not actually a raid, only to turn around and be like, oh, they found nothing because there was nothing going on, but they raided me. I'm a political prisoner. I'm honestly shocked as to how they were able to keep this a secret, because a raid of this magnitude, not even a raid, but like literally going in and like opening up his fucking safe and like getting access to these details, like that is being conducted at the highest level of government, okay? The fact that like the Brandon White House is saying that they didn't know about it is bullshit. I don't believe that at all. But even if that's the case, everyone down to the fucking Florida Attorney General and the federal the federal judge that signed off on the warrant, like there are so many people that knew about it, and the fact that none of them even leaked it is wild to me, okay?
All right, this is a Fox News alert. Donald Trump said tonight his Mar-a-Lago home is under siege by FBI agents. A source tells Fox News that agents are indiscriminately removing items from the residence. We're also learning the president's son, Eric Trump, spoke to our own Brian Kilmeade and told him as many as 30 agents raided the former president's Palm Beach home. So Fox's Mike Emanuel is joining us again with the absolute latest. Mike.
Will, good evening. Sources familiar tell
they sent
Fox
their fans
News
out there?
FBI raid of former President Trump's Palm Beach home is related to the taking of potential classified information from the White House upon leaving office January 20th of last year. The National Archives says there were 15 boxes that contained what it believed to be presidential records, noting they must be preserved. A source familiar tells Fox FBI agents went to Mar-a-Lago looking in every single office in the president's safe and grabbed documents in boxes without reviewing them there on property. The source telling Fox they took boxes and documents to review once they left Mar-a-Lago and were told they were not being judicious about what they took. Fox has learned former President Trump was actually at Trump Tower in New York City when he learned the raid was taking place in Florida. The former president saying in his public statement, they broke his safe. And obviously, he was quite upset with the raid taking place.
That part is so funny. They broke my safe. No.
All right, Mike, thank you there for the latest. So as you've heard tonight, now the former president of the United States home in Mar-a-Lago has been raided by FBI agents. Upwards of 30 agents broke into his safe, took boxes of documents away, not discovering them, not going through them on premises, but taking them away for further analysis. We do not have information at this time as to why. What is the legal or evidentiary basis as to what is the investigation and the raid into Donald Trump? But for now, we turn to Fox's Shannon Bream for a legal analysis of the situation unfolding tonight. Shannon, great to have you with me. Let's take this from a legal perspective as you look at what's happened and what has occurred. What's your takeaway?
Go back to Fox. Trump supporters have a right to defend him. I know, I'm on Fox. They were showing it. They were showing the Trump supporters that like went to Mar-a-Lago to defend him from being raided.
You are a gifted lawyer and know this just as well as anybody. You've talked us through what would happen. I mean, this doesn't just happen overnight. You go through a judge. There is an internal decision-making process.
Okay, this only makes the L more permanent, though. When they describe,
people have to talk over the possibilities of what could happen here, and you know, it's so rare because there's never been an indictment of a former president, a criminal indictment of a former president, and who knows whether we'll get to that place. But this is part of a case. This is part of what you would do, is go get information and go get things that you would claim are evidence. It's interesting if, as what Laura Trump has been saying, I'd be interested to see if the DOJ and FBI also believe, as she said, he's been cooperating. He's been working with them. They may likely have suggested otherwise.
For the record, if they actually don't find anything in there after getting a warrant to search even his fucking safe, then it is a gigantic L and basically like a Jim Comey style helping, Jim Comey style boost for Donald Trump to line himself up as someone who's politically persecuted by the highest law enforcement authorities. So they better fucking have an indictment. The FBI better have, or the federal government must have an indictment coming after this. Because if they don't, oh my God. What a gigantic fuck up. Texas Patriots arriving at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago. Like, this dude is the most, these are the most annoying people on the planet, dude. Hannity's Malding? Wait, Hannity's is Oh, Hannity. Oh, yes.
While he was
in
New York,
save us.
according to President Trump,
save us, Sean.
Warmed his residence.
Give me that guac 6,000. Oh my God! If only Donald Trump fucking calls in.
45th president wrote, quote, "My beautiful home is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents." He continued, quote, "Nothing like this has ever happened to the president of the United States before. After working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. It is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by the radical left Democrats who desperately do not want me to run for president in 2024. According to the New York Times tonight, who got the
raid
scoop
of MAL
first,
is another
somehow,
escalation of the
search
weaponization
was
of federal
focused
agencies
on
against the regime's
documents
political
that the
opponents.
former president brought with him from the White House, including potentially classified documents. Sources are now telling Fox News that the raid was not related in any way to January 6th, but according to one source, the FBI was, quote, not being judicious about what they took during the search. Just so we are clear, this raid is truly, completely unprecedented, and you can't imagine this would have ever happened to a Democrat. This is where Americans now begin to ask the question, do we have a dual justice system in America? Is there equal justice under the law? Do we have equal applications of our laws? Remember Hillary Clinton's house? It was never raided, even though she stored troves of classified material on a personal server. She deleted 33,000 emails. Remember, nobody had ever heard of BleachBit before Hillary.
Okay, bro, come on. We're just hearing the same thing over and over again. Sean, come on, give us something good. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Trump failed to fucking investigate or arrest Hillary Clinton. That's a fat L. Nobody cares about the fucking fattest of L's, okay? Trump was president for 4 years. He was a big, beautiful boy. He was our big, beautiful boy president, and he failed. He said, lock her up. And I thought, maybe he will lock her up. He did hold the L. Oh, my God. He literally held it. That's funny. And then he never locked her up. Donald Trump Jr. says, Biden's out of control. DOJ is ripping this country apart with how they're openly targeting their political enemies. This is what you happen to see. This is what happens in third world banana republics. Republicans are very good. Okay. They're very good at tying back things that only impact the wealthy all the way to the dumb motherfuckers who don't even have dentures in, okay, that desperately need it in areas of in a state of disrepair. It's not, they don't have enough time to be like, oh, the FBI investigating Donald Trump for, you know, files that they refuse to fucking send over to the FBI is just like you. Like, it's just like you. They'll come after you too. It's like, that's not the same. I don't even think the January 6th prosecution has had a clear-cut through line that targets or impacts like average Republicans in some meaningful capacity. Because they originally started off by claiming that it was like Antifa. You know what I mean? They would have, yeah, you're right. They would have an easier time saying this is revenge for Roe v. Wade. Well, actually, no, not Roe v. Wade, because the Roe v. Wade is not that popular. They would have an easier time saying like this is because, you know, we're prosecuting gay teachers or some shit. Like they don't have enough. That's why they're scrambling right now for a good talking point that cuts through the fucking noise, because they don't have anything good right now. Like they're kind of cooked. That's why they're saying like, oh, well, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? Like, it doesn't really matter.